Guys, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Perpetua podcast. It's James Rankin here, joined today by my old friend Diarmaid Healy. Diarmaid, how's it going, man?
What's up?
Um,
Not too bad, not too bad. How are you? It's good to
Good,
catch
man.
up.
I'm good. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen you. Diarmaid, give the people a bit of a background. Who are you? What do you do? Why are you on the podcast?
Yeah, I suppose so. It's a long and winding road and all that crack. But
Yeah.
I'm the owner of Parallel Nutrition, a food delivery company. We basically make healthy meals and we deliver all around Dublin and a little bit of North Wicklow. But primarily it's a Dublin based food delivery company. I'll chat to you a little bit on how we got into it and all of that. But
Yeah.
essentially, 2012, I moved to Dublin. Came up
Where are you
here to
from?
train as an accountant. Yeah, from Cork, from the glorious, the real capital, I suppose. Like, so yeah,
Yeah.
so moved up from Cork, and I started in PwC just across the other side of the Samuel Beckett Bridge. And basically, I probably haven't said this to anybody. Actually, I was thinking about it there when I knew we were going to chat. I chose my company based on proximity to a gym, and Perpetua was the Perpetua. Yeah, swear to God, man.
Gosh.
I interviewed for two companies on one day, and I chose the one that was across the bridge from Perpetua. So I was an old school member up in
Savage.
across the way there in Sir John Rogerson's Quay, I
Oh
think,
yeah.
up along
It's
there
long
across from
gone.
where Sprout and all that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I moved with you through a couple of gyms and a couple of locations. So I was yeah, there for about, I'd say I was a member for maybe 6 years or so, and
Yeah.
while in there just kind of got the major bug for the nutrition and the food side of things. And basically at the end of my 4 years in PwC, I started meal prepping for a few mates, and basically Joe, sure, he's well known to all the Perpetua crew, but Connor Hillick was my first customer. So he uh, he basically was like, you're kind of tracking your food and you're doing a little bit and you're cooking for yourself and meal prepping. And I was like, I am. And he was like, I'm kind of a bit lazy. And he was like, I'll give you a few bob if you want to cook for me as well. So he used to call out to my old house out in Colester, and he used to collect a bit of food off me for the week. And
Savage.
then I started doing it for a couple of members and basically grew it from there. And here we are then, kind of 3 4
Wow.
years later, and we're, yeah, in our own unit, and we're churning out a couple of thousand meals and growing quite quickly. So it stemmed from a shared house in Colester, and yeah, so now we've staff on the books, vans on the road,
Unreal.
delivering and growing, and yeah, it's deadly. And to be honest, it all started out of Perpetua, so it's kind of cool that we've kind
That's
of come
gas.
full circle
Yeah, full circle here.
to here. So
And
I fed a few of your guys inside there, Lar and Gigi
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Gigi's the man for chicken and sweep it out of wedges every day.
Yeah,
That's
he
what he
likes
lives
his
off
plain
of with me.
food and
So,
the same thing every day, doesn't he? Connor Hillock
yeah,
will
yeah,
love that shout out as well, man. He'll be thriving
yeah.
whenever he hears this.
Oh, he love that. If I don't see it on his Instagram, but in the next few days, then I've done something wrong.
Yeah,
So yeah.
exactly. Cool, man. So how did you like, because you've gone through your own journey with regards to like fitness and nutrition as well. Like you weren't a gym rat who was training from
No,
he was 14. So like talk us through
no,
that.
no. Yeah, most definitely not. I suppose that like a lot of people, I suppose I struggle massively with like weight fluctuations and gaining weight and losing weight, and didn't really hadn't really a major understanding of kind of food and volumes and calories and none of that stuff. And I still didn't when I started out with any of what I was
Yeah.
doing. Basically, in my leaving cert, I stopped playing all sports maybe about 3 or 4 months before my exams, and in hindsight, worst decision I've ever made, I would say, because
Yeah.
like, as we all know now, like, you need these breaks and releases from your day to day and the stresses of, like, whether it's study or work, and exercise should be that break. And I kind of packed it all in to try and study. It wasn't even that I was studying that much. I just kind of like I just kind of fell into, I just
Yeah.
stopped. And basically I went to college, and in the first year of college, first year away from home, bit of freedom, access to lots of booze, lots of food, all that stuff,
Yeah.
and it spiraled. I put on quite a chunk of weight, like, so since then, basically, kind of through college, didn't really do too much. Tail end of college, started to actually get to the gym a little bit again, but at that stage I'd say I was at about 120 kilos, so I was
Wow.
up a decent bit. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it had kind of got a little bit out of hand, but it was funny, like, because like most people know, it kind of creeps up on you. I know that's a lot to creep up on you, because like the overall back now, and probably I lost probably about 40 kilos, maybe 35 kilos to 40 kilos. But like it creeps up on you and you don't realize. So I got back into the fitness a little bit. And as I kind of got into the gym a bit more, I started to understand the importance of food and the importance of nutrition. And then, as I said, when I was finishing up with college, I was back kind of running a little bit, and I'd kind of been introduced to CrossFit literally just before I moved to Dublin. Down in CrossFit Mallow, and down in Cork. Yeah, shout out to them as well, to Ty Carroll and the lads he's well known.
The OGs of Irish CrossFit down there, man.
One of the first. He knew it before anybody did, I'd say.
Yeah, he
so
did.
We basically, I was a couple of months at it there, and then when I moved to Dublin, I essentially found a gym, or found a CrossFit box as quick as I could, and I was kind of on my, I would well started at that stage. I was probably down a few stone again, but I began to become aware of the importance of food. And then while training in Perpetua for a few years, and while working full time in PwC, I was like, right, this is something I'm actually super passionate about. And I started to look into kind of how to upskill, and maybe go down the route of doing a little bit of coaching and all that stuff. And I even shadowed a little bit with McGregor back in the day, and all that sort of stuff. But I think the food and the nutrition thing was more down my street. So I ended up doing I kind of did a bit of research and did a kind of a little online nutrition course a while back, and then I committed to Precision Nutrition and did my level 1 with them. And yeah, sure, from even, I'd say, when I was in and around doing our double session days with you inside there, I looked after a bit of nutrition for some of the members in there, and did some nutrition challenges, and that kind of grew legs, and it became a thing that Perpetua and a couple more gyms I got involved with. Then I ran these 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 week kind of challenges, for want of a better word, really. But I ran these kind of coached, I don't know how to coach programs, I suppose, really, for kind of how to educate people how to kind of eat well and get a bit of a balance, and to understand what portion control is, what a well balanced plate of food looks like, and all that. And look, I know a lot of your listeners and a lot of people now have done the Precision Nutrition course since then, so they know the value of it. Like, but it's for me, it was find a course that was based on science, but that had a practical element, and they had both of it. And it was basically, you get an understanding of it, and then you apply it to people. And I fell in love with that, and I was like, this is deadly. And that kind of got me into the nutrition side of things. So started taking on individual clients and doing a lot of work with that. And together with the meal prep, then my idea was, why not bring it all in house, and for people who wanted it, look after both sides of it, look after the food and look after the nutrition for those people. And then kind of stemmed parallel nutrition, I suppose. Like, but yeah, for me, nutrition was my entry into everything. I think I discovered the importance of it for everything, like for how you feel, for like you're like, eat bad, feel bad. Like it does resonate. Like, I mean, if you fill yourself with sugars and a lot of the artificial kind of foods, you're just not going to function as well, for me. But funnily enough, then, and I know it's probably gone off on a tangent a little bit, but for me, for me, it was kind of, when I started out, I was super strict on everything. It was like, when I started out with the CrossFit, paleo was the way to go, and it was cutting out carbs. And then this keto thing came along, and all of this came along. And I remember getting like these, the bulletproof coffees were huge, and all of this sort of stuff. And it's like, it's not high fat's the way to go, and then cut out the carbs because you burn your fats. And then it's like, actually, I've done this now a couple of years, and like all these, and it's kind of something that is important for me with the business, but like with the nutrition side of things, it's like, it's actually somewhere in the middle on everything. And this is for life in general. It's like, there's extremes on both sides. You have absolutely like extreme high carb, extreme low carb. You've like vegetarian's the only way to go, meat-based is the only way to go. You can't see progress on vegan, you can't see whatever. And it's actually like, it's a little bit of balance with everything. Like, if you're consistent with something and you find the right balance, and for me, find something that works for you, and repeat it, and repeat it again, and then refine it a little bit, and repeat it again, and away you go. And that's it. That's what works for you. And
I think that's huge. Like, kind of what you said there was, find a thing and repeat it. Like, like, I was having a conversation with a tag the other day, and we were literally speaking about that thing, and I spoke to my clients a lot about it recently, like patience, and how people aren't able to go, right, what I do today influences what I do tomorrow, influences what I do next week, next month, for the next 6 months, for the next year. And if I do the thing today, that means I'll do it tomorrow, next week, next month, next 6 months, next year. Then in a year's time, I will be a different person.
Like there's just exponential. There's exponential growth. Like it's like
exactly.
It's insane. Like a little marginal gain every single day. Like what that does for you overall. Like, but I think I think what a lot of people, and I definitely struggle with this, is having the patience to actually stick with it. Because like like you don't. For me, and this is speaking for me personally, but I presume it'll resonate with a few people. Like I personally didn't get to the position I was in terms of like gaining all of the weight and all of this stuff overnight. This was a couple of years of accumulation. It was a calorie surplus, a lot of time, a lot of days in a row. It wasn't being extremely active. It was probably it was socializing too much. It was like drinking a little bit too much of sugary drinks and a little bit too much of the points of Bulmers and stuff and all that sort of thing. But like that didn't happen overnight. So how are you expected to actually have the reverse of that overnight as well? Exactly. You have to have patience with this stuff. It takes time, and that's the hardest part about it. Like, is in you want the progress and you're like, I'm putting in the work, but it's like it does get there. And for me, something as simple as like, don't hop on the scales every day. Don't take a picture every day. Like pick a time, but do it at under same conditions, a week, 2 weeks apart, 10 days apart, that sort of stuff.
Replicate it, yeah, exactly.
Like replicate it. And I think for me it's consistency and habits and persistency that leads to the progress. And sticking with it and like committing to the journey, and actually just like from coach, like when you coach somebody or when you're programming for somebody, like they're not going to peak in 2 weeks time. Like it's a journey. And I don't know, I found that when I got so into it, that I found that stuff like paying for like somebody to like work with me on the nutrition side of things, investing in like my courses, like paying for CrossFit membership, things like that, like that was essentially replacing a couple of nights out a month for me when I was in college or when I was kind of going out when I was in work. And I'm like, it's a no-brainer. Like it's an absolute no-brainer. Like and
it's an investment instead of an expense.
Like, it's not an expense.
At all.
It's just not. It's not.
Yeah. Like what you can get from that and learn from that and take with you for the rest of your life is like, you might get a good story from a night out and you might have a bit of crack but you have the days after where you feel horrendous because you're hungover and then you have the bank debt or the debt in your bank account with nothing to actually show from it 6 months later.
And the thing is, like, it's and I'm absolutely not advocating not doing this sort of stuff, but like it's finding the balance. Like you know yourself, we've had plenty of nights out and stuff over the years with the members and like with everybody and anybody up here. Like it hasn't stopped me from doing anything, but I'm a little bit smarter with my choices. And I think once you get into it and you actually enjoy it a little bit and you see some progress, whether that's a week down the line, a month down the line, or 6 months down the line, you actually get a buzz off of that progress, and you don't want to see it go backwards. And like, I don't know of anybody who, when they see progression, want to actually regress. Like they don't. And it's not that you want to like get absolutely shredded. It's not that you want to be like super lean, and because generally people don't walk around like that. It's not something like, for me it's and this is even progress, and it might be because I'm a little bit older now and I'm not as like obsessed with like seeing certain stuff, but it's like fit and healthy beats everything, like especially with what we've seen in the last year, like with everything that's gone on, like as in if you can get up and go out and about, exercise in whatever form of exercise it is, whether it is CrossFit, whether it's Olympic lifting, whether it's out doing what everybody's doing, me included, training for triathlons, doing whatever you're doing, like that's like, find something you enjoy and do it. It's the same with the food side of things. Find something 100%. You enjoy, repeat it. Like there's not find what works for you. Like that's what everything is about. Whatever gives you a bit of joy. No brainer.
And none of this elitism with exercise unless you actually want to be elite, which who is, how many are like 0.001%, like it's not realistic. Like even within the Irish CrossFit circuit and stuff, like there's a couple of people who can compete, that's it. Like that's it. 99.9% of the people are actually there just to be fit and healthy, meet some new people, have a bit of crack, push yourself, finding somebody in your group when you train as a group, when we
can go back to it. Finding somebody who's the same level as you and wanting to go out and beat them in a workout, like that's what it's about. Like that's kind of, and then for me, like the best crack about when I was in Perpetua was we were chatting about it in one of the WhatsApp groups from way back in the days, like going on a Friday morning, there was 10 to 15 of us going for breakfast after the Friday 6:30 a.m. session. Like you're like with
that's what it's about.
Yeah, that's what it was. Like it was like you came in and you trained and it was great crack, but like you came in early, you hung around, you stayed around after, you hung around. Like it's just, there's just fun with it. Like, and for me, like if you're finding that fun with whatever exercise it is or whatever it is with food, like especially with the exercise side of things, then like how can anybody say that it's bad for you? Like it's 100%. Silly. Like people get injured in every sport, so like whatever.
Exactly, that's always going to happen. Deadly, man. That was everyone needs to rewind that and just watch it all again, because there's a lot there, but there's like I think everything you've said there, man, is super valuable, and it's things that people do forget and they do take for granted, because especially in CrossFit, like everyone gets the bug. Like it starts with you buy the shoes. And then you start buying the same gear that everyone has. And then you start watching the YouTube videos. And then you start asking coach, like, well, how do I get a muscle up? And how do I snatch heavier? And what should I be doing extra? And it's like everyone wants to do all these add-on things. It's like, what else? But like, kind of like what you were getting at there, like people miss the bare basics and the essentials of like, right, well, what is your nutrition? Like, are you getting your protein in, your carbs, your veggies? Are you sleeping enough? Is your training even, or are you like avoiding conditioning day because you don't like cardio? Are you just lifting heavy? Are you just doing conditioning day and not ever lifting? Like, and people are looking for all this fancy, thrilly stuff. But then the base of the pyramid is like, nothing.
But it's the same thing. It's like, exactly. Like, as in you're looking at the little bit at the top of the pyramid before you've actually got all the foundations sorted underneath it. And it's like, well, like that's just going to topple over and you're going to end up overtraining and end up injuring yourself. And I'm speaking from experience. This is exactly what I like. Stupid shit. I mean, like, it's ridiculous. Like,
well, and even the fact, man, we used to train twice a day. Like, why do people like me and you have to train at 9 a.m. and again at 4 p.m. when the best we're ever going to do in an Irish competition with average people is average?
But I don't think you can ever get to that. I don't think we'll ever realize that. Like, it takes years to realize that. Like, and you
have to do it. You have to make the mistakes, don't you?
Yeah, I think you have to, but I think then that allows you to actually be a better person in terms of coaching and from an advice point of view, and how you actually interact with like, we'll say somebody you have come on board with you as a client who's like new to exercise versus somebody who's a couple of years into their journey versus somebody who's actually like a well-trained athlete who is like, the well-trained athlete is the person you probably have to not necessarily do the least, but I'm not sure, you probably know this better, but like they're aware of their bodies a little bit more, like, and you don't have to be like, it's like somebody getting, when they start training, when I got double unders for the first time, it's all I wanted to do then, like, or like you're training to try and get a muscle up and you haven't got a strict pull up and you're like, what are you doing? Like, as in like walking before you can run, like it's
I think
silly stuff.
I think the hardest people to, what's the right word here? I don't want to say control, but the most difficult clients are the ones who aren't new and they know enough. It's Dunning-Kruger effect. Like they've come from the bottom and they think they're up here, but in reality, it's like you're still learning and your body still isn't prepared to do all this stuff. Like, like why do you think you can? Why do you deserve to do 2 sessions a day, 5 days a week? Whenever you miss a meal here, you get 5 hours sleep. Like, you're not doing the other stuff.
If you're not getting out of bed crippled the following day, I haven't done it right. And it's like, well, actually, no. Like, it's like, all right, well, I've done a double session, so I'm going to go on the rip tonight. I'm going to get up in the morning. I'm going to do like maybe an hour and a half on the bike to sweat it out. And you're like, just take a break.
Brutal.
Chill. Balance. Exactly. And that's, I suppose, in a sentence, because I know, like, as you said, there was a lot there to take in, but like, for me, it's balance and the consistency. And 100%. That gets your results. That's it in a sentence.
I think I need to rename this podcast, because I think nearly every episode I've done, we've come back to that point. It's like, well, it does have to be balanced, but it's so important. Cool. I think we've hit that one on the head, man. I kind of want to talk as well, like, into your business side of things. So you've obviously gone from corporate You had a good, secure job that a lot of people would fucking kill for during COVID. And you went out on a limb. You did something that in Dublin at the time wasn't really done well.
It was a little bit around, but it wasn't. I suppose for me, there was a couple of those businesses around. But the differentiator for what I was doing was the plan was to actually put fridges into all of these locations. So like we deliver en masse to the location, basically trying to cut out the logistical nightmare of delivering around Dublin. So it was like, we put a fridge into your place, we'll wrap it in your brand and logo, all that sort of stuff. We have them in a few places around Dublin now at the moment, but they're closed obviously. But like we put it in there, and then like we deliver to Perpetua members. So they'd order for collection from Perpetua, and then they come in on a Monday and a Wednesday morning, and their food is there, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks and lunches, whatever you wanted, that package is all there. And then that was essentially the model. We'd started to get into some businesses and corporates, and we were growing it quite well. And and then kind of COVID kind of hit, so it was move quickly and adapt quickly, so the thing with what we're doing as well is like, I have a really good business partner. Like Hugo's deadly. He kind of Hugo Nolan came on board about maybe, I'd say 18 months ago now. Nice. And like, it just, like what he's doing like behind the scenes with me and allowing me to kind of develop the food side of things and look after the kitchen and the quality of that side of things, and just being able to kind of take some of the heat and take some of the weight off my shoulders for what we're doing. Like it was, it's good. I think we complement each other quite well. Like, we actually recently just kind of changed the Instagram handle to Parallel Meals. So that's kind of, if you're looking for us after this podcast, for anybody that's listening, it's Parallel Meals now, at Parallel Meals. But you go on there, all those photos, like they're all done in-house. That's Hugo's side of things. He's good and all that, man. He's got such an eye for it, and he's just helping develop the business massively in the background with like generating kind of new leads, getting stuff out there, everything. So it's kind of cool, like that we dovetail quite well in what we're doing. But like basically March hit, gyms closed. We're like,
so talk to me about this. Talk through so you were getting into corporate, you were in a couple of gyms. You were doing talks and corporate stuff as well, weren't you?
We started all that as well, and the nutrition thing was going all right, and it was going quite well, and we were still doing all of these challenges and kind of doing them across a number of gyms and locations across the city, and a lot predominantly CrossFit based, like, and we had good relationships and a good, like, I suppose a good bank of people who were ordering regularly the food every single week. And then basically this thing hit, like, and it hit middle of March, and we're like, oh shit, what happens now? And basically we're like, right, it's kind of, we had like little discussions on, are we going to like try and do a hybrid model where we hit home delivery as well? So because we're getting a lot of queries from people who were like, well, I'm not a staff member in this place, I'm not a member in this gym, how do I get on board, like to look at your food, all that stuff. So it was something we had considered, but basically, like, there was no option. It was essentially, we have to get our food to our customers. So we just basically said to them, for the first 3 or 4 months, we actually swallowed all delivery costs, swallowed absolutely everything. And we were like, look, you've been unbelievably loyal to us. So how about we'll deliver to your door, we'll adhere to all the requirements from health and safety, and we won't charge anybody any delivery at all. We didn't introduce any delivery fee, nothing at all, and just swallow that week on week. Because for us, it's kind of like, it would have been this, they were with us every week, and the idea with the collection point is that there is no delivery fee, because it was another little benefit to actually get ordering food through us. It was a perk. And for us, the idea with the partnerships to the gyms was, let us provide a service for your members. To like, it definitely improves retention in any gym that we're in, because it's another service provided. You come in the Monday morning, you hit your 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. session, and boom, you go walk out at 8 o'clock in the morning and you've got your food, you're sorted, and it's another box ticked. So we were like, right, we'll deliver to your door, we'll deliver to your house, we'll get out in it twice a week. Had a chat with our delivery drivers, and we were like, look, we have to switch up the model, this is what we're doing. Obviously we swallowed quite a cost for the first few months, but it was kind of short-term pain, long-term gain, all of that sort of stuff. And we basically adapted, and we've kind of grown quite substantially then by actually offering the Dublin delivery. See, this is the thing, like, it's bloody hard work, it's insanely hard, and this is so So when you hear people say it's like, yeah, if you find a job you love, you never work a day in your life. I'm like, shite. That's rubbish. Absolute nonsense. Like, it's like, no.
You
It's
never
like,
stop working. If you find a job
no.
you
What
love,
happens is,
you never switch off.
yeah, you never switch off, but you actually, the difference is that you enjoy doing the work, so you work
Yeah.
harder at it, and then you reap the benefits. Whether it's from like personally, whether you feel better about your job, whether it's job satisfaction, whether it's monetary, whether it's rewards, whether it's praise for your product or your quality of your food, whatever it is. But it's like you work harder than you've ever worked. Anybody asked me, like the thing I left PwC with was I thought I lost my work ethic because I was just like, I didn't like it. I wasn't ready for it. I was done. Commit to this. We went and adapted the full business model in the middle of this. We swallowed costs. We had a look at like anything we could do to get the food to customers. And then we basically, we're like, look, stick with us. This is new to us. We're going to have some teething problems as we figure out the delivery, the times you'll get your food, all this sort of stuff. Because the only slight good thing about it was that everybody was actually working from home essentially. So they were kind of there all the time. But we still had to get their food to them in certain windows. So then we were like, right, we'll hit certain parts of Dublin on certain times. So like we'll hit like South County Dublin and City Centre on 2 of our deliveries, and then we'll hit North County Dublin and the rest of City Centre on 2 other deliveries, and then we'll be able to box them off a little bit and hit all of them then. And then you just try and manage the kitchen with the orders and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, we kind of just, I don't know, we got stuck into it, and we basically grew it and grew it and grew it. And yeah, like we're probably, I don't know, I would even be saying this, but we probably 200-300% growth last year in terms of like customers, because it was like what we found was like it was like word of mouth just spread it. Like it was like, right, we're getting there in terms of like people have more awareness about us. And it's not to say that the original model was bad or wasn't working, but this allowed us to reach more people. But I'm very, very sure that we still want to have that service of the collection points when things get back to some level of normality. But like, yeah, you kind of, it was sink or swim. So yeah, it was kind of cool.
I suppose the fact that during the first lockdown, everyone started trying to cook and trying to bake probably actually worked really well for you, because I know I got fed up cooking. And I love to cook. So that people, if you can provide that service of, listen, I know you like to cook, but here's 10 meals a week.
Yeah, and that's it. And like I think one of the main things from us is we're pretty priced, like we're priced pretty fairly, I would say. Like just to give you some of the numbers, like none of our meals, nothing for a main course goes above €7.90. So like the more meals you buy, the cheaper the packages. Like you can get your breakfast, lunch, and dinner off of us for €85 for the week, plus the delivery fee, which is like $4.50 for 2 deliveries across the week. So under €90 will get you all of your food for the week. There's zero waste because we've controlled everything on our side. Like we have it's all caloried out, it's all macroed out. Like, so you have your carbs, fats, proteins for people who are tracking. Like the other side of it, then we like for people who are kind of conscious about wastage and things like that. Like from a packaging point of view, we only use compostable or recyclable products. We're zero plastic. Like it's another thing that matters to a lot of people. Like a couple of our vans on the road are electric refrigerated vans. So all of that side of things, we're trying to trying to tick the boxes with all that sort of stuff. And it's just like, I don't know, like for us, it was just like, we lost, to be very honest, we lost probably about 70% of our business in March straight away. It disappeared because nobody knew what was going on. So it probably took us 3 or 4 months to recover back to where we were. So it was maybe only from August onwards that we actually, and then became a bit more awareness. So we lost a lot before we could gain a little bit. But like, I couldn't be happier with how we've managed to pull through as a team, as a staff, because we did chop and change. We lost staff who weren't local to our kitchen and stuff because they couldn't travel and commute down, all that sort of stuff. So everything. So we had to restaff, like find people locally, then you train them up. So like, I don't know, like I kind of think managing a business is nearly just like you're like, if there's nothing to fix, then something's nearly wrong. Does that make any sense? It's kind of like, there's always something happening to be done. Like if you're sitting on your hands, then I kind of think there's something amiss where you're missing. You're going backwards. Like, so I don't mind being hands on. It suits me now. And I bloody love it, man. I'm not gonna lie, I love it. It's the best decision I ever made. Was I got my results last thing. Got my results in the car outside Perpetua at 6 a.m. on a Friday morning. Got my results, qualified as a chartered accountant, and never went back into the office. That was it. That was it. I was gone.
That is phenomenal, man.
So made the leap straight away. Yeah,
Yeah,
my parents were like, "Look, you've got your qualification. If you're setting it, go for it." And
that's
self-funded
brilliant.
and went away and did it. So yeah, don't
Good
owe
for you, man.
anybody any money, and here we are now a few years later. So yeah,
Check you out.
yeah, it's
That's a
a
great
it's
story,
all right
isn't
to
it?
be a little bit kind of like have a little bit of be proud about it. Like I think it's
Of
kind of like
course, man.
yeah,
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 it's a real Irish thing to like try and play stuff down and be like,
yeah,
ah, well, it was fine and
yeah,
whatever. But like, no, like I
yeah,
made a big decision.
yeah,
I had a big struggle in the middle of it because the
yeah,
world shut down and
yeah,
my main thing wasn't viable.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
instead of like having a pity party, feeling sorry about it and throwing the cards in, because you could have quite easily there just went, I'm going to
yeah.
be an
And I just
accountant.
yeah, just go back and use it. Like, but I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, I was like, I was so bored. What I realized is I definitely wasn't made for a desk job, even though I thought it was
Yeah,
always what I wanted to do. So yeah, I kind of, and
savage.
here we are now. Like, and we're yeah, we're kicking on in 2021 with basically new brand and logo on the way, new website being built at the moment to
Wow.
make it easier for everybody to use our stuff and order and just user friendly. Like, just I don't know,
Everything.
just like when we're not allowed to basically do anything outside of your own kind of work and whatever little bit of a routine you have, like just tick as many boxes as we can business wise while we're kind of stuck and can't travel, can't go on holidays, any of this sort of stuff, and just get all that running, like because
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of where we're at the moment. So
Unreal, man.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah,
That's a great story.
yeah, yeah,
Wow, that was intense.
yeah, yeah. I know,
It's
yeah, I
but
know.
isn't it mad how like a lot of the things you've said there with regards to your business
Mm,
about like doing the thing and ticking the boxes and
yeah,
this is what I have to do
yeah,
and short-term pain, long-term
yeah,
gain, and then you can bring that all back in to
yeah,
your training and your nutrition and you
yeah,
apply the same thing. Like it's
yeah,
all it all transcends and it's all interrelated and it's all the
yeah.
exact same, isn't it?
I think no matter what you're doing, like it is a matter of like little steps over and over again, over and over again. Like you obviously you take a big leap every now and then, like but that like
Yeah.
essentially
But
90%
you
of the time.
earn the right to get there by
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
the
yeah, exactly. It's yeah, like as in yeah, you build to a point where you then have to make a
yeah.
decision, but you've done a lot of the stuff and you've all, as we said earlier, like you have the fundamentals in place. The base of that pyramid is right. The base of that
Yeah.
pyramid is ready. So then it makes sense to move on to the next stage, and then you just build a way up along it. Like so, as you said,
Totally.
whether that's nutrition, food, business, life, whatever it is, yeah, like it doesn't matter what it is. It
Yeah.
transcends everything. Transcends everything.
Man, I love it. Bro, where can people find you then? So it's at Parallel Meals on Instagram now,
Yeah,
is it?
yeah, that's what the Instagram handle is now. And then yeah, parallelnutrition.ie is where we're at. We yeah, just to give people a little bit of an idea without doing too much of a
Yeah,
sales
dude.
pitch. But like
But go for it. Yeah, give
I,
us your elevator pitch.
yeah, I suppose what similar again to what we do, what I do with the nutrition thing and focusing on balance, and we don't actually cater for anything in specific like terms. We don't have a full vegan menu, we don't have a full vegetarian menu, we don't have a full meat based menu. What we are is we cater for the majority and we have a bit for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's essentially like we cover a little bit of everything. If you are looking for a full vegan plan, there's better places out there for us and we're the first to admit that, like, but
Yeah.
we change up our menu every single week, so you get the variety of that every week.
Wow.
We work off of like 3 or 4 different protein, like meat based dishes, a fish based dish, and then a vegan and a vegetarian dish every week. That's what we do. And then we do kind of high to low carb, high to low calorie, so you've got 3 different variations of every meal. We do the breakfast similarly, and then we have snacks and things like that as well. So it's kind of like we try and cover it off like that, where we cater for as many people as possible. And I
Mm-hmm.
know it's not going to be what some people want, but I've definitely learned that it's impossible to please everybody when it comes to food in particular. And like you know that yourself, like as in
Yeah.
I'm personally somebody who'd eat porridge 3 or 4 times a day because I enjoy
Yeah.
it and I just put my toppings on and away I go, and it works for me. And that for me is my balance and
Yeah.
consistency. Like that's how I function, that's how I work. But from our food point of view, it's cater for everybody as much as possible, give a bit of everything available there. We release a menu every single week. So we release a menu on a Monday. You have until 8 p.m. on a Thursday to order, and then we start delivery for the following week then. So we deliver on the
Yeah.
Sunday and on the Monday, and then you get your second batch halfway through the week. So it's fresh food for the full
Oh,
week.
you still
Don't
do that split week, do you?
yeah, yeah, split the week because we want people eating
Wow.
fresh food for the full week where you don't have to freeze the food, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sometimes you end up throwing it away or it goes to waste. So for us, again, it's obviously not the most cost efficient thing, and I'm sure somebody who's listening going, this lad's an idiot, like he's losing money on this. We might be losing money, but for us, we definitely retain an awful lot more customers, and we definitely get an awful lot more positive feedback on the quality of the food because it's fresh.
That's it, man. You can't. You either have a high quality product or you don't.
Yeah. And for us, it was focused on quality. You don't really have
an in between. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and find a way to deliver the quality. And I think that's because we do have people jumping on board from other competitors and things like that. Like, and the general feedback is to do with the fact that we have our compostable and we're recyclable, and the packaging, we were zero plastic, and the quality of the food. They're kind of the two things we get the most. And like our retention rate for members for customers is quite high, and that for us is a reflection on the quality of the product. And that's to do with the team that we have in the kitchen as well. Like, we've got some unbelievable people working in the kitchen for us, because
love it.
I mean, I was an accountant. I wasn't training as a chef. I enjoy my food, and I got good at the cooking, and then that's how it started, and I did it myself on my own for a few years. But you need a team and you need a support network. Like, 100%. We're only in a position to do that now because we have a bigger customer base and people are coming back because they enjoy it. Like, so that's kind of it. So parallelnutrition.ie and at Parallel Meals. So that's kind of it. That's too much talk for a Cork man. Sorry.
Guys, thanks a million for joining us again. Go check out Diarmaid's stuff and try his meals, and we will be with you again soon.